flash in 2018, inside a completely packed military briefing room, a young woman named Lieutenant Aria Cole stood utterly alone. As she stood there, you could hear the whispers rippling through the crowd of senior officers. Murmurs like, "What is she doing here? And she doesn't belong." See, Aria wasn't special forces. She wasn't a decorated fighter pilot. She was a communications officer. To many in that room, she was just invisible. Just another face in the background. Someone who handled the tech but wasn't on the front lines. That was the perception. Until one single chaotic night in Afghanistan changed everything, forever. Imagine this. The base is plunged into sudden, complete darkness, a total blackout. Almost immediately, the terrifying sound of an attack erupts. Alarms blare, but they're quickly drowned out by explosions. Radios are dead. Every line of communication is severed. It's pure, unfiltered chaos everywhere. Soldiers are scrambling, yelling, trying to find cover, trying to make sense of the ambush. The kind of situation where survival instinct tells you to hide, to find the nearest bunker, and wait for it to be over. But Aria, she did the exact opposite. While everyone else was running for cover, she sprinted directly toward the source of the problem, the communications tower. She ran alone, a single figure moving against the tide of retreating soldiers. The air was thick with the zip and crack of bullets flying past her head. The ground shook violently with each new explosion, nearly knocking her off her feet. Through the darkness, you could hear the desperate screams of soldiers calling for backup, calls that were going nowhere because the radios were silent. But Aria didn't stop. She reached the tower and started to climb, hand over hand. She ascended the metal structure, the battle raging below her. She reached the top and found the radio station completely shattered, a mess of wires and broken components. With gunfire still peppering the area around her, she got to work. Using nothing but her bare hands and her expertise, she began to rewire the entire system. In the middle of an active firefight, with no protection, she pieced together the shattered communication lines. And within an astonishing 38 seconds, she did it. She restored communications for all 2,000 soldiers on that base. That was the exact moment the tide of the battle turned. With the lines open, calls for air support finally went through. Jets roared overhead, providing cover and striking back at the attackers. Troops on the ground were able to regroup, coordinate their defenses, and push back. That night, hundreds of lives were saved. And it was all because one invisible communications officer refused to hide. But the story doesn't end there. When Aria returned home, you'd think she'd be celebrated as a hero. Instead, she was met with more of the same skepticism from some circles. Whispers followed her again. She's not a combat soldier. It was a technical job. She doesn't deserve the same recognition. The resistance was baffling. It seemed like some couldn't see past the label on her uniform. Then came the formal awards ceremony. The hall was filled with the highest-ranking military officials in the country. A hush fell over the crowd as the President of the United States stepped up to the microphone. He scanned the room, and his eyes landed directly on Aria. He looked right at her, and his voice boomed through the silent hall. When heroes rise, entire nations stand. He paused, letting the words sink in, and then he said, "Today, America stands for Lieutenant Aria Cole." In that instant, every single soldier in that room rose to their feet. A wave of applause and respect washed over her. And in that crowd, standing at attention, was the very same commander who had once refused to even salute her. You see, some heroes fight with rifles. Some fight with incredible courage on the battlefield. But perhaps the rarest and most important heroes of all are the ones who save lives in ways we do always see. The ones who do their job with unwavering bravery, even when no one is watching. So, let me ask you, would you salute Lieutenant Cole? Tell me what you think down in the comments. Thanks for watching.